Hello students, myself Pallavi Vilas Borade, teacher at Ferguson Junior College. I teach Vocational Electronics Paper 1. So in the previous lecture, we have started our chapter number 5, that is Modern Electronic Communication. In that lecture, we have seen the introductory part of this chapter. So in today's lecture, we will see the remaining presentation. So let's start. So till now we have completed amplitude modulation introductory part, the definition of amplitude modulation. So let's start with the modulation index M. So what do you mean by a modulation index? So the definition of this modulation index is the ratio of the peak value of modulating signal to the peak value of carrier signal is called as modulation index, and the notation is small m, and it can be calculated as Vm divided by Vc. So basically this index decided the quality of this amplitude modulation. That's why it is the ratio of amplitude of modulating signal with the amplitude of carrier signal. So it is also called as modulation factor, and it should be a number between 0 and 1. So it is also given by m is equal to V maximum minus V minimum divided by V maximum plus V minimum. So this formula is used in practicals where AM circuits is experimented. So this is the waveform of practical experiment. So this is the envelope of AM amplitude modulation, where carrier signal is shown in red and modulating signal is shown in blue. So this is the final output of the amplitude modulation, and it is also called as envelope. And we can calculate the modulation index by using this waveform as V maximum, that is the amplitude of maximum and minimum amplitude, divided by maximum amplitude plus minimum amplitude. Then this modulation we can calculate it in percentage, and which is called as percentage of modulation. So in AM modulation index, when it is multiplied by 100 gives percentage of modulation. So basically the percentage of modulation can be calculated as M into 100. So what is the importance of this percentage? So it determines the strength and quality of the transmitted signal, and it is stated as under, perfect and over modulation. Means what? If M is less than 1, then that modulation is called as under amplitude modulation. If M is equal to 1, then that modulation is perfect modulation, or it is also known as critical modulation. And if M is greater than 1, then that type of modulation is called as over modulation. So let's start with the first one, that is under modulation. So what do you mean by under modulation? Here modulation index is less than 1. So when the carrier is modulated to a small degree, the amount of carrier amplitude variation is small and audio signal to be transmitted is not very strong. As the amplitude of the modulating signal is less than the carrier amplitude, distortion will not occur, and this condition is called as under modulation. So in this type of modulation, here the amplitude of modulating signal is less than amplitude of carrier signal. That's why the modulation index, that is Vm, is less than Vm. So that's why there is no distortion, and we can use this type of modulation in the practical. Next is perfect modulation, or you can say critical modulation. So this is the ideal condition for AM, where Vm, that is the amplitude of modulating signal, is equal to amplitude of carrier signal, or you can say that M is equal to 1. So this is called as perfect modulation, and this will produce the greatest output at the receiver with no distortion. So if you observe the diagram, we will get the exact output of AM waveforms. Here Vm is equal to Vc. So that's why this is the output of perfect modulation. But the problem of this perfect modulation is it is not used in practical. We cannot create M is equal to 1. That's why it is impractical. And the third is over modulation. So the over modulation, in that M is greater than 1. That's why Vm, that is the amplitude of modulating signal, is greater than the amplitude of carrier signal. That's why this type of modulation is called as over modulation, and this is the waveform of over modulation. Again, it is not used in practicals because the information is greater than the carrier signal. sidebands. So the sidebands which are created after the carrier signals, so the new signal generated by the modulation process that appear directly above and below the carrier frequency are called as sidebands. The name itself, sidebands are in the side, left hand side or right hand side of the carrier frequency. That's why these frequencies are called as lower sideband frequency, that is FLSB, and we can calculate this lower sideband as FC, that is carrier frequency, minus FM, that is modulating frequency. We can calculate upper sideband frequency, which is at the higher end of the carrier frequency, that is FUSB, is equal to FC carrier frequency plus FM, that is modulating frequency. So if you plot the graph of carrier frequency, lower sideband and upper sideband, it will look like this. We can calculate the bandwidth of amplitude modulation by using this plot, that is 2FM. Just you have to put FC minus FM plus FC plus FM. We will get the bandwidth, that is the difference between LSB and USB. We will get 2FM as the amplitude modulation bandwidth. That's why these sidebands are important. So let's see the one example, depends on the amplitude modulation. So an audio signal is given by the expression EM is equal to 50 sine of 3140t. It amplitude modulates a carrier wave given by EC is equal to 100 sine of 628,000t. From this you have to find out sideband frequencies, second is modulation index, third is amplitude of sidebands and bandwidth. So let's see the solution. So here the given values are Vm, that is 50. So we have to consider the sine wave equations of EM and EC. So from that equation we can conclude that Vm is 50 volt and 2 pi FM is 3140. Just we have to compare this equation with sine wave equation. EM is equal to Vm sine of 2 pi FMT. So by using this equation we can calculate FM. Then from the second equation, EC is equal to 100 sine of 628,000t. We will get VC, that is the amplitude of carrier signal, as 100 volt. 2 pi FC is 628,000. By using this equation, we can calculate FC easily. By using this FC and FM, we can calculate this first part, that is sideband frequencies are just FC minus FM and FC plus FM. So we can calculate this sideband frequency as, the second is modulation index M. The formula for M is Vm by Vc. Just put Vm as 50 volt and Vc is 100 volt. We will get modulation index as 0.5. And the third is amplitude of sidebands. The formula for this is Vm by 2. So if you put 50 by 2, you will get 25 volt as amplitude of sidebands. And the last is bandwidth. So by using this formula of bandwidth 2FM, we will get the bandwidth in amplitude modulation. Second example. So this example is related to the practical, that's why I have given this. So the second example is, due to amplitude modulation, peak to peak value of RF signal increases maximum up to 120 volt and it reduces minimum up to 40 volt. So find the modulation index. So by using this formula, the given values are V maximum as 120 volt, V minimum is given as 40 volt. We have to find out modulation index, that is M. Here we have to use this formula, that is practical formula, V maximum minus V minimum divided by V maximum plus V minimum. You will get the answer. So let's start with the second type of analog modulation, that is frequency modulation. So what do you mean by frequency modulation? So the definition is the process in which the carrier frequency is changed in accordance with the modulating signal, keeping the carrier amplitude constant, is called as frequency modulation. Now this modulation process is related to the frequency. So whatever the carrier frequency is changed, the modulating signal, and if modulating signal amplitude changing, in according to modulating signal, the frequency carrier will change. And that process is called as frequency modulation. So here the amplitude and phase of the carrier will be constant. So FM is used in basically radio transmitter and TV transmitter, We are using FM radio, that is 98.3 megahertz, like that. So these are the applications of frequency modulations. So this is the waveform of frequency modulation, where the first diagram is the modulating signal, that is low frequency signal. Second one is carrier wave frequency, that is the high frequency. And the third is the output of frequency modulation, where according to the modulating signal, the carrier frequency will change. If you observe the first diagram and third diagram, for the positive half cycle we will get some kind of frequency, and for the negative half cycle we will get some other type of frequency. So in this way the frequency modulation takes place, and this is the final output of frequency modulation. So that change in the frequency is called as the frequency deviation. So the definition of frequency deviation is the amount of change in carrier frequency produced by the modulating signal is called as frequency deviation. Notation is FD. So the frequency of the modulating signal determines how many times per second the carrier frequency deviates above and below its center frequency, and that will be decided by deviation rate. So basically this deviation is required because the frequency of carrier signal is changed according to the modulating signal change. That's why this change of carrier signal, the amount of this change we have to calculate, and it is calculated by deviation rate. So if you observe this picture, here modulating signal is varied, that is the audio signal input, and according to the modulating signal, carrier frequency will change. For the each change we will get the deviation between two frequencies. That's why this is the FM radio deviations. So the important terms in FM, so we have to consider these terms. First term is center frequency, that is FC. C stands for center. So the frequency of the unmodified carrier signal is called as center frequency. So basically this center frequency is the applied carrier frequency, that you have to remember. Unmodified carrier signal means applied carrier frequency. By using this FC we can calculate FD also. So the maximum frequency minus FC, that is center frequency, or FC minus F min, we will get the frequency deviation by using this center frequency. Second term is modulation index, M. Again it is the ratio of the frequency deviation to the modulating frequency, and it is known as modulation index. So in frequency modulation, the formula for M is FD divided by FM. Next is percentage modulation. Again we can calculate percentage modulation in FM also. So the percentage modulation we can calculate it by actual frequency deviation divided the maximum frequency deviation allowed into 100. So the first term, that is in numerator, it is the actual frequency deviation, means how many times carrier frequency will change, divided by the maximum frequency deviation allowed. So this is the range of the frequency where frequency deviation is allowed, and if you multiply with 100, then we will get the percentage modulation in FM. Next is deviation ratio. So it is the ratio of maximum allowable frequency deviation to the maximum modulating frequency. So it is calculated by D. D is equal to FD max divided by FM max. Basically this is the modulation index but with maximum frequency. Next is guard bands. So why these guard bands are required? So it is a narrow frequency range used to separate two wider frequency ranges to ensure that both can transmit simultaneously without interfering with each other. So if you observe this diagram, you will understand what do you mean by guard bands. So it is basically another frequency which create the distance between actual frequency. That's why these bands are called as guards. So a guard band is an unused part of the radio spectrum between radio bands for the purpose of preventing interference. So basically these bands are used to secure the information and to reduce the interference of two carrier frequencies. Next is carrier swing, CS. So the total variation in carrier frequency from the lowest frequency to the highest frequency is called as carrier swing, and it can be calculated as 2FD, that is the frequency deviation into 2. So these are the variation between highest and lowest frequency of carrier signal. Sidebands in FM. So, in frequency modulation, n number of sidebands are created because the frequencies depend on the modulating signal. That's why when we transmit carrier signal and we will get the deviation in carrier, for each deviation we will get upper sidebands and lower sidebands. If you observe this picture, this is the graph of sidebands in FM. The center frequency, that is the carrier frequency. Upper sideband frequencies are FC plus FM, then FC plus 2 FM. In the lower sideband frequency, we will get FC minus FM. So hence, we will get n number of sidebands in FM which are useful in frequency modulations. So in FM, infinite number of pairs of upper and lower sidebands are generated. Any sideband whose amplitude is 1% of the unmodulated carrier is called as significant sidebands. These sidebands are very important in frequency modulation. So if you compare amplitude modulation and frequency modulation, these are the points, comparison between AM and FM. So this is the 3-mark question in board exam. So let's start with the comparison. The first point is, in AM, the power in sidebands only is useful, but in FM, all of the transmitted power is useful. As there are no guard bands in AM, there is possibility of interference. In FM, there are guard bands between FM station. That's why there is less adjacent channel interference. Third point, amplitude limiters cannot be used to reduce the noise. In FM, noise can be reduced by using amplitude limiters. In FM, fidelity is poor as maximum modulating frequency is 5 kHz. In FM, fidelity is better as maximum modulating frequency is 15 kHz. That's why modulating frequency is greater than AM modulating frequency. Capture effect is not observed, but in FM, capture effect allows the stronger signal to dominate without interference from the other noise signals. In AM, pre-emphasis circuits are not used, but in FM, by using pre-emphasis circuits, high frequency noise can be reduced. In AM, small bandwidth is required. In FM, large bandwidth is required because the sidebands are infinite. In AM, simple equipments are required, but in FM, more complex and costly circuits are required. In AM, area of reception is large. In FM, area of reception is limited. In AM, only 2 sidebands are created. That's why 2 sidebands are present. But in FM, infinite number of sidebands are present. So if you compare this AM and FM points, then FM is always better than amplitude modulation. So let's start with the FM example. So a radio signal is a carrier wave of 150 MHz which frequency modulated by a 4 kHz audio tone causing a frequency deviation of 20 kHz. Calculate the range of frequency, the carrier swing and modulation index. So this example is from board exam. So let's start with the solution. So the given values are FC, that is carrier frequency, is given by 150 MHz. The modulating frequency is 4 kHz and the frequency deviation is given by 20 kHz. Then we have to calculate the range of frequency. That's why we have to calculate the maximum frequency. We can calculate maximum frequency as FC plus FD, minimum frequency as FC minus FD. Then we can calculate carrier swing, that is 2FD. And the third is modulation index. The formula for FM modulation index is FD divided by FM. So in this way you can solve the examples. Third type of modulation is phase modulation. Basically frequency modulation and phase modulation are called as angle modulation. So the definition of phase modulation is when the phase of carrier wave is varied in accordance with the amplitude of modulating signal. The process is called as phase modulation. Now in this type of modulation, the third characteristics of carrier signal is used, that is the phase. So frequency and amplitude of carrier signals are constant. So these are the waveforms of PM, that is phase modulation. So if you observe the picture, it looks like a frequency modulation, but here the phase is changed according to the modulating signal amplitude. So whenever negative cycle is applied, the phase of the carrier signal will change. So for the positive signal, we will get one type of phase is in the carrier signal, and for the negative half cycle, we will get the second type of phase. So those phase are called as leading phase and lagging phase. So a time separation between two sine waves of the same frequency is called as phase shift. So in the phase modulation, we will get the phase shift between two carrier frequencies. So the positive alteration of the modulating signal produce lagging phase shift, means there is a carrier stretching in the positive alteration, that is the positive half cycle. In the negative half cycle, the phase shift is leading phase shift, that's why carrier compression is there. Means what? In positive half cycle, carrier output is delayed, and in negative half cycle, carrier wave is compressed. So the phase modulation produces frequency modulation. That's why this is called as indirect FM, because the output of frequency modulation and phase modulation are the same. So till now we have completed amplitude modulation, frequency modulation and phase modulation. So let's start with the second topic of the communication chapter, that is the satellite communication. So these are the applications of communication system. Satellite communication. So what do you mean by satellite? So in nature, the Earth and other planets are satellite which revolves around the sun. A satellite is a physical object that orbits or revolves around some celestial body. So artificial satellites and the gravitational pull keeps the satellites in orbit. So artificial satellites can be launched into orbit for communication and other purposes. So by using the satellite application, we can launch artificial satellite for the communication, which will revolve around the Earth. So a communication satellite is basically a RF repeater. It is called as RF repeater, that is transponder station, which has made broadband distance communication easier. So with the help of these satellites, artificial satellite, we can communicate at long distance transmission. So when a satellite revolves around the Earth in either circular or elliptical path or orbit. So the orbit path can be elliptical or circular. In this diagram, we can see the path is elliptical around the Earth. So that forms a plane which passes through the center of gravity of Earth. So there are types of directions. The first one is, if the direction of satellite revolution is same as the Earth rotation, then that orbit is called as posigrade. And if the direction of satellite revolution is against the direction of Earth rotation, it is called as retrograde. So it will depend on the direction of satellite which will revolve around the Earth. And the orbits with 0-degree inclination are called as equatorial orbits, and orbits with 90-degree inclination are called as polar orbits. So you can see this picture with equatorial orbit and polar orbit. Geosynchronous satellite. So a satellite which orbits the Earth around the equator at a distance of 35,860 km is called as geosynchronous satellite. So this satellite revolves around the Earth in exactly 24 hours. That's why this satellite is called as geosynchronous. It's synchronized with the Earth rotation. So the merits of geosynchronous satellites. So if you launch the geosynchronous satellite, so it requires a limited Earth station antenna tracking, since the satellite remains fixed in the position relative to Earth. It is capable of providing continuous and uninterrupted communication over the desired area. Third is, satellite communication links are not affected by the Doppler frequency shift. So in the communication system, we can launch the geosynchronous satellite. There are demerits of geosynchronous satellites. The first one is, a costly launch vehicle is required to launch this geosynchronous satellite. Regions near the north and south poles are not covered. And there is a time delay of about 300 milliseconds between transmitted and received signals. So these are the demerits of geosynchronous satellites. So this is the satellite as a relay station. So when we want to transmit some signal by using the satellites, we can use this satellite as a relay station, or this relay station is known as repeaters, where transmitting station and receiving stations are installed on the earth, and we can transmit the uplink frequency to this relay station, and we can receive the downlink frequency from this relay station. So if a transmitting station cannot communicate directly with the other receiving station because of line of sight restriction, then satellite is used as a repeater. So this is the application of satellite. The transmitting station sends the information to the satellite, which retransmit it to the receiving station. So a receiver in the satellite picks up the transmitted signal, amplifies it, and changes it to the another frequency. The original signal being transmitted to the satellite from the Earth station is called as uplink frequency. So basically the uplink frequency is the original frequency which is to be transmitted, and the retransmitted signal which is converted into the another frequency, that frequency is called as downlink frequency. Always remember that uplink frequency is lower than downlink frequency. Generally uplink frequency is 4 gigahertz and downlink frequency is 6 gigahertz. So students, in today's lecture we have seen the types of analog modulation, that is the amplitude modulation, the detailed explanation of amplitude modulation, then example based on amplitude modulation. Then we have seen the frequency modulation, the detailed explanation of frequency modulation. Then we have seen the example based on FM. Then we have seen phase modulation, then comparison between AM and FM. And we have started the satellite communication part. So in the next lecture, we will see the remaining part of this chapter. Thank you.